Hello indie game fans! Looking back on June 2019, the new indie games of that month were really quite spectacular, but as always, we will start with some quick picks worth checking out.
7 evils to vanquish.
Amid Evil is retro-style first-person shooter, this time seemingly taking inspiration from Heretic and Hexen rather than Doom. Rather than going old school with the visuals, this actually looks pretty modern and awesome, with a nice variety of weapons to choose from. Chippy is a twin-stick shooter where you are literally able to take apart bosses piece by piece. With bullet hell gameplay, various boss designs with different attack patterns and weak points, and an ever-escalating sense of danger, this is one of my favorite smaller titles this year. The anime roguelite dungeon crawler Zengeon seems to have gained something of a little following, which is most probably due to the visuals and the basic roguelite hooks. Being another one of these with a somewhat generic story doesn't help, but with 5 playable characters and Diablo-style action RPG elements, this is definitely worth checking out, even though the English translation leaves much to be desired. The wacky Cooking Simulator is the latest in the line of realistic, in quotes, simulators, where you can do things in the proper way as you make delicacies, level up and become the ultimate chef. 60 plus recipes and even character perks and skills makes this a lot more RPG-like than your run-of-the-mill simulator, but this also has wacky physics and emergent gameplay that allows you to mess around as well. Hardcore MECHA is a very anime 2D action platformer starring our all-important robotic creations that look to have great variety and options. This probably has a space saga story similar to what you would find in something like Gundam, but the action itself looks pretty fun. Moving on, here are the top 10 best indie games for June 2019. Another month, another Devolver digital game makes the list with My Friend Pedro, an action platformer where you play as a man being asked by a banana to kill some bad guys. Think Deadpool mixed with Max Payne and John Wick, and that's pretty much it. The action looks insane, especially due to the control that you get with slow-mo, and it really is a violent ballet of destruction, although I have seen videos of people completely goofing it up, which perhaps is not so cool. "198X" is a coming-of-age story set in the 1980s and is perhaps targeted at people who grew up in that era, since it is about the escapism that video games can provide from the struggles of daily life. The mix of genres is nice, with great pixel art to boot.
There I was, up in my room, just like every other night, stuck in sleepy suburbia, or so I thought. But sometimes extraordinary things will happen if you just let them.
This will not be a surprise, but the zombie base building survival game They Are Billions makes the list since it already has made my top 10 best indie games of 2019 so far. I love the steampunk aesthetics, and this really is quite a beautiful looking game in spite of the theme, which of course leads to the point of the absolutely massive swarms of zombies. Excellent return to form for the genre with its own unique take. Reventure was a surprise hit since it has garnered over 1,300 Steam reviews and is rated as overwhelmingly positive. While at its core, this is an action-adventure platformer, oh, how far the game that used to be known as Long's Adventure has come. If it isn't obvious enough, this is a tribute to The Legend of Zelda, but as a side-scroller, with plenty to discover since there are 100 different endings. The humor and jokes are top-notch, and of course, sweet, functional pixel art.
Transmuting this time.
I've made this joke before, but Symphony of the Night 2 has absolutely crushed expectations. A very traditional Castlevania game in all but name, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night has your 2D side-scrolling action platforming, boss battles, ability unlocks, backtracking, RPG elements and so on, and it's just such a great one of these. Really enjoying my time with this game, so kudos to the developer and looking forward to their future projects. For more of the best indie games, do check out the previous video or click on the recommended playlist, and I will see you after the jump.